Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bravo Outsider. I'm your host, Craig Midwinter. With me, as always, is my co-host, Dylan Ferguson. How's it going this week?
Doing just great. We're rock and roll, baby. Let's go.
We are rock and roll. We're anti-establishment here.
Yeah.
Each week, we bring on an outsider, someone who doesn't follow the Bravo universe, to make them watch the episodes and get their take. This week, we've got Jared Story.
Blood may be thicker than water, but it's harder to clean when it spills. It's menacing.
Very good.
It's very menacing.
Yeah, that's a very menacing quote from Teresa Giudice this season.
We rated those at one point, I think with Tim Gray, right? Was that the one we liked the best?
I think so. There's also Jennifer Aiden's was like, karma's a bitch.
So
start barking.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. We're super glad to have you on the show, Jared. We
Thanks
usually start out kind of like getting people's backgrounds with reality TV, but you've got a journalism background and you've actually worked as like an arts and culture reporter, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that having like professional experience consuming art through like a critical lens came in handy while watching these shows at all?
I don't know because this is not exactly the type of art I usually would criticize.
Right.
So maybe I came in a little too hot off the start because I was highly critical. I don't usually watch these kinds of shows, but I kind of, not gonna lie, I kind of got into the second because it's a different pace than the stuff I normally watch. It's like who's this person? Yeah. Who's this person? I had a hard time keeping up for a bit.
Yeah,
they all kind of look the same.
That's a good point. We get a lot from newcomers on the show.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Vanderpump Rules and Real Housewives of New Jersey. We'll start with Vanderpump Rules, actually.
Sure.
What was kind of your first impressions of each of the cast members, or who stood out to you the most?
Okay, I'm probably going to mess up some names, but because this episode started with the makeout, right?
Yeah, so the Vanderpump Rules episode 10 picks up immediately where episode 9 leaves off with Katie or Raquel and Tom Schwartz. Mm-hmm. They had their little kiss by the pool.
Yeah, Tom Schwartz is pretty awkward. He's probably the most awkward person. I think he seems to have a lot of stuff going for him, but he can't quite get it together.
I think his serious competition in the awkward front was the person he was kissing.
Yes. She seems like she's a little like, she often creates problems for people. Like she kind of had that vibe, like kind of lurking in the back, and then she's going to sleep with your boyfriend kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much bang on what like has happened off camera this season.
Right.
And on camera too. So, yeah.
Allie, Lala. She's very controlling. Like she gets what she wants. You can tell pretty much all of the time.
Yeah. She has a very like domineering personality that at least that she like likes to project. It comes off a bit as like fronting to me quite a bit, but that's definitely the persona that she likes to communicate.
Yeah, she kind of scares me, not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean those are the couple characters that stuck out the most. I also think that Katie and her friend, who's Katie's friend?
Christina Kelly.
Christina.
Yeah, like
you got to say both names. Tom Schwartz said that at one point, and it's like, yeah, for some reason, even though she's the only Christina on the show, you got to call her Christina Kelly.
This is the first time watching it, but I feel like she's a person who's pretty good at picking out everybody else's problems, but can't see her own. And her friend is like her little pity parade. Like she's always there to have her back, but she's also like, you're doing this again. You're still talking about this guy 7 months later or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's why Christina Kelly's there. I think like Katie like checked her and probably an overhead. She didn't pay extra for her. Just brought her for that reason.
Yeah, she seems like a little bit of a like it's kind of like a reverse punching bag. Like she just puts all of her problems on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the kind of parallel that we got from the earlier season, from Sheena's first wedding, where
Mm,
um, Christina Kelly was again in the peanut gallery, criticizing the wedding dress. This time she seemed to genuinely, or at least like kind of put it out there, like she was trying to genuinely appreciate what was going on.
right.
Probably because of all the flack that she got uh, from the first wedding.
Oh yeah, people didn't like her reaction.
Yeah, no. So her and Stassi, I guess, like, I don't know. Sheena is a character that a lot of people, I don't kind of underappreciate, in my opinion. She
Right.
isn't a very like well loved, but she works really hard on this show, and she's constantly trying to stir stuff up, and we saw that in these episodes, or in this episode. A little bit when Sheena called the room where
Hmm.
Lala's room early on in the episode to kind of let everyone know about the Schwartz and Raquel makeout. But
Right.
during her first wedding, they were saying it looked like a slutty Sweet 16 dress or something like that.
Quinceanera.
Her wedding
Yeah,
dress.
Stassi's
Quinceanera.
line
That's
was
right. Yeah.
that it looked
Right.
like a trashy quinceanera dress,
Yeah.
which was
But
really
she's grown
mean
so
and a great
much
read.
since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It appears she's grown a lot since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Stassi. That's why she's out of the show.
Yeah.
I also like that she has a kid named Summer Moon.
Oh, so good.
Mm.
Like, pick one. Pick one. Like, who are you,
I-
Frank Zappa?
There's like very elemental children's names on this show because there's also an ocean.
Ah.
Lala's child's name is Ocean. So yeah.
It's like the
Yeah,
Captain Planet kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they think they're like the original Greek gods or something, just giving
Right.
birth to the world, the elements of the world.
Yeah.
And who's to say they're wrong? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they seem to be
very
getting a
true.
lot of what they want in life, so yeah. Oh, but I guess the other character, I'm getting the two shows confused a little bit, but I call him Chin Dent.
Oh, okay, James Kennedy probably.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
That fucking chin. He puts that
that's-
thing on with
that's-
putty in the morning. He got that
Yeah.
fucking. He
It
got
changes.
the same. He got the same surgeon who did like Jim Carrey and Me, Myself, and Irene. I'm so sick of that fucking bullshit fake chin of his.
I swear to God, it changes from shot to shot. Like sometimes it looks like it's a little off center, but then when he's talking to the camera in those kinds of shots, it looks fine. Like when somebody professional put his chin dent there for him. I'm not sure if it's surgical. I think it's like you said, putty. He annoyed me to no end. He's probably the worst person.
Oh man!
Thank you.
No one respects James Kennedy. I thought
Nor
this
should
was
they.
a great episode for him.
I actually thought that this was actually an all right couple of episodes for James. As much as I also loathe the man, I find him so annoying. But I thought he was actually not too bad. I'll give him a slight prop for mocking the Australians and being like, "Oh, take some Viagra and fuck a couple kangaroos."
Yeah,
that was actually sort of funny.
He was right about that.
Yeah, they were doing
that. Was a weird moment.
that is what Australians love to do all the time, I think.
I really enjoyed the scene that we got between James and Allie and Schwartz by the pool.
That was a weird, funny scene. Yeah,
that was like James really trying to like show restraint and growth, but still like coming off as kind of a dick and controlling. Like,
Right.
He's saying that he's not going to get mad and like he's not going to do the thing that James normally does, but then going on to say she doesn't need to back you up. I'm trying to like create a boundary between you and her. Like you don't need to be friends, which is a pretty like controlling dick thing to do to your like girlfriend.
Yeah, she doesn't appear to like him very much.
Well, I mean, yeah, when he starts like turning the temperature up, which he does a lot, she'll just kind of like stand up and walk away.
Yeah,
she's done that a number of times so far this season. But I did like that scene that you're mentioning, Greg, because it's like James is kind of relishing the fact that Schwartz is like finding himself on the outside of at least part of the Fred group and kind of wants to like flex on him, but like you said, he's like trying to like show a bit of restraint there, which I thought was really funny. Also, I'm sure he doesn't know what the word facetious means.
Oh,
You know,
no.
when Tom
No.
Schwartz is like, but you're being
Yeah.
facetious. And he's like, no, you're being facetious with your big words.
He threw it out there with a lot of confidence. But yeah.
That's a good point about how like he's seeing Schwartz being on the outs and really wanting to relish in it, because that's like a feeling that he's expressed that he has had this season. Like he has felt like he's being pushed out of the group, and space is being made for Raquel. So now to see Schwartz come along and be in a situation where, you know, a big portion of the group is upset with him, I think that you know, I'm surprised that he didn't. It takes the heat off, but I'm surprised he didn't, you know, gloat a bit more about it.
Right. Well, he seems like he gloated quite a lot.
He was
I've never met him before, so.
And he was so happy to be at girls' night near the end there. He was so delighted to be included and just like dining out on the whole like girls' night vibe and being like, oh, maybe go get some beauty sleep later, doing little kissy faces and stuff, and just being like, just one of the girls, right? Yeah. Absolutely loving it.
It was a good like parallel between the guys' night when Raquel showed up to the guys' night.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So he got to crash the girls' night. It was, you know, he was going to take advantage of that.
For sure.
I watched the 10th episode before I watched the 9th episode.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm kind of thrown off with the series of events and the chronologicalness of it. Yeah. But
did you have any specific highlights from this episode that stood out to you? Or either of these episodes?
Well, I mean, I kind of like, as much as I don't like him as a person, like it was always exciting when, is it James? Chin Dent is James?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously, because he creates a lot of drama just by nature of how he reacts to things.
Yeah.
Like he just kind of goes over the top really quickly.
Yeah. He's dynamic. He's exciting. He's fascinating television. He's the star of Vanderpump Rules.
He's one note. He's boring.
I'm sure I'd get tired of him after a while, or maybe he would grow on me. I don't know. I get their names all mixed up. I'm not gonna lie. So they have a restaurant, like, or these two guys are gonna start a restaurant soon.
Yeah,
eventually, apparently.
Yeah, but they don't seem to be doing, like, they're in Mexico and they're opening in 10 days.
Yeah, they're down in Mexico for Sheena's wedding. You know, it's an event that you can't miss. They are they've got a restaurant already called Tom Tom that is open, and it's mostly just Lisa Vanderpump's restaurant with their name on it. So they're trying to start up a new restaurant where they can kind of break out of this, but it's kind of slow going, and this plot line for me is pretty boring. Like, I don't really care. We've seen over the seasons a lot of, you know, trying to get a restaurant open. We saw it like early on with Lisa Vanderpump opening the Pump restaurant, and then we saw it with Tom Tom, and now we're seeing it with Schwartz and Sandy's again. So I mean, it's kind of tired now, but it's whatever. It does add to the, you know, the Vanderpump Rules vibe, because it's you know, something that we can kind of see, and it's been a constant running through line through the past 10 seasons. So but yeah, overall I don't think this storyline is super interesting.
No, I thought when they would cut back to when they would cut back to Lisa, just the show would get kind of boring. Like, it wasn't that exciting. Although I did like meeting her husband, who doesn't seem to care. All he seems to care about is the little dog he is holding.
Yeah. Ken seems like he is losing brain cells by the minute. I feel like, you know,
well, how can he not?
He's just getting droopier and droopier.
Yeah, I liked. Well, he just doesn't seem to fit in either. Like,
Yeah, well,
it's weird when somebody's.
Lisa just makes him hold her dogs. That's all he has to do. You've got to like put some toys in his enclosure at least.
Yeah,
You've got to give him a tube he can run in and out of or something.
give him something to do.
A laser to chase around.
Exactly. You got to keep him active.
I think Lisa's gonna like bury Ken in the backyard, just next to like Jiggy and
I think
Pink
she
Dog
has
or
said
whatever.
that. She has said that,
Yeah.
and as a joke, but I'm not sure it was a joke. I think that's
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
At one point, somebody said, "I want to light them both on fire."
Oh yeah,
Katie
Katie
said that.
It
Oh
gave
yeah.
everyone chills.
That was like, holy
Lala
crap.
was like, "Oh, I've got chills," and James is like, "Yeah, me too."
Yeah. I think James might have thrown in a theatrical shiver there or something. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Katie seems like she's really
and that
she's really
screenshot of
holding
the
on to
text she
this.
sent. Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen some screenshots of Katie's text in past episodes, but of course now she's going to go full righteous fury. That's it's a fun thing to see.
Yeah. No, I think like we're continuing to get honest emotion from Katie this season, and I I'm enjoying it. I don't know, I get where she's kind of coming from. Like I can see
Sure.
why she would be upset about this, and but also like, what did you expect was going to happen on this show?
I mean,
Yes.
I understand her being wounded. I think she's dialing it way up out of proportion, but that's what Tom Schwartz should have known what was going to happen. Of course, like he should absolutely have known that this would make her blow up, and he went ahead with it anyways for
And
whatever reasons.
Yeah.
And I do think her reaction is wildly out of proportion, but it's not at all out of character. It's what she
Yeah.
would do, and what
And
what
he
he should have
had
been
like
prepared for.
ample warning. Like it's
Oh
not like
yeah,
this was an impulsive out of the blue thing.
oh
This
yeah,
is something that has been like teased throughout the entire season,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Katie has very clearly communicated
right.
how it was making her feel.
The
So
mere
like,
suggestion was already a blow up. So
yeah.
Is it like, maybe this is pulling behind the curtain, but like, isn't that what's supposed to happen? Like, isn't are like when the party is right beside the restaurant and they're like, we didn't know it'd be this close. It's like, you didn't, but the producers did,
well, the thing
For
is,
sure the
okay,
producers
in that
did, yeah.
right?
specifically, no, like what you're saying in general, we could go into that in a bit more detail, but like the specifically Katie sitting down with Christina Kelly and being like, "Oh my god, the wedding's so close to us." I was like, "What the fuck? You are crashing this wedding, Katie. Why are you going to complain that you're too close to the wedding?" She
Yeah.
disinvited herself from the wedding and decided to go to the same resort anyways. And then she's like, "Oh my god, they're so close to us. What? You did this."
Yeah.
Did I say pulling behind the curtain? I meant pulling back the curtain, obviously. Pulling behind the curtain sounds like a whole other
Is
thing.
a whole dirtier thing to do.
Yeah.
She couldn't have not gone though. Like she had to go for the show. Like
For the show, probably. Like I've said, like the best excuse for it would be that the producers were like, "Come on, we need you to go. We
Yeah.
got to have you there." So that's like the best excuse for it. If it was entirely her own initiative, it's like doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I also felt like, I mean, just because I haven't watched any reality TV for a long time, some of the, like, just the moments when they're in a hotel room, and I don't know, sometimes I just see things from the perspective of the cameraman, and it's like, there's just this guy, he's just standing in the middle of these like intense conversations, and they have to act, they have to do them naturally, and it's like, I never know, are they playing it up, or are they just become unaware that the camera's there?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, because this is such a mature cast, I don't think
Mhm.
they see the
They don't see it at
cameras
this point.
as much. Like, they don't see them as much as like um being in an invasive presence. I think
Mm,
they are very like aware of the cameras, and
right.
um they know how to use them strategically even. But I don't think it's something that interferes with them like bringing up like really heated emotion. I think
Right.
they've all got, you know, they've got enough hours in front of the camera that it's real easy for them um to kind of put that behind
Sure.
them when they're trying to engage in this type of dynamic conversation.
Yeah, the core
Yeah.
cast, they're professionals at this point. Most of them have been doing this for like 10 years. So I
Right.
think that brings both sides to it in the sense that, like Craig says, it brings the aspect that they're not going to be at all put off or bothered by the cameras.
Hmm.
But at the same time, they also have reasonably polished camera facing personalities at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They know the cues to hit. They know
Sure.
the way that they can do the conversation they want to do in a way that'll play right for the cameras because they are
Right.
professionals at doing this by this point. Most of them, anyways. Some are a little
Sure. And
yeah.
less polished than
Uh,
others. But
Yeah, some are definitely much better than others. I think Tom Schwartz is one of the people that likes to think of himself as being really good at presenting this like persona in front of the camera, but also he's really bad at like using it strategically and picking his moments. I think
Hmm.
that it comes across like really transparent when he is um trying to like put on a front, like we saw in that dinner scene, the Bubba dinner in episode 9. Also, like when he tried to pick his moment to go and talk to Katie afterwards at the dinner, that was also just like it seemed like a rookie move to go and try to do
you
your
know what?
thing. Then,
I'm not too sure about that though, because that specifically that moment when he broke into the conversation to ask Bubba to trim his armpit hairs
yeah,
was was actually a moment that made me reconsider something I had said earlier in the show. I think the first time we talked about Vanderpump Rules this season, where I was saying that like if the situation continues to degenerate between Katie and Schwartz, Katie is going to be completely strategizing. She already is,
Hmm.
and Schwartz
mm,
Schwartz is going to be just lost and goofy and without strategy. I think he's actually I've come around to the idea that Schwartz is way more strategic than I think he is. And that moment actually made me think that, because I thought that was a moment where Schwartz saw, Katie, Christina Kelly, and Lala having a conversation, knew that they were probably talking about him, knew that it might be a moment it'd look bad
Hmm.
for him, and immediately decided to insert himself, with something that was designed to be guileless, designed to come off as unstrategic, as stupid, as
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
as the key word to understand Tom Schwartz's strategy is what we used to call adorkable. That
right.
if I ever publish my glossary of millennial aesthetic categories, there's going to be a big entry on the adorkable. It's a subcategory of cute, which means it's based on being vulnerable in a way that will make people love you. And Lala says that when he leaves, when she's like, that was so inappropriate, and then he makes you feel sorry for him, and I feel sorry for him now. Why do I
Right.
feel sorry for him? By intentionally doing something that makes him look like he has no clear intention, that he has no
Hmm.
idea of what's right or what's wrong. That makes him seem so guileless, so gormless, so vulnerable, that the natural reaction, especially for a millennial, uh, is to like want to embrace him and like him and be like, oh my god, he's charming because he doesn't know how to socialize correctly. And I
Right.
think that Tom Schwartz has gotten really used to working that to his advantage, and he weaponizes that. And I think to me that was an instance of him weaponizing that. We could disagree about whether it worked or not, but
Hmm.
that's what I thought he was
Yeah,
doing specifically in that situation.
I
yeah.
thought he was
That's a
just
fair
calling.
point.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that's a fair point. I think like you see that same strategy, like he tries to play that out at the pool with James, and James is able to quickly like diffuse that. He's not buying into this, aloof Schwartz act.
Yeah,
He's very quick to like turn it away. But yeah, in that second instance, you're right. It did kind of work in his favor to play that, and that is what has kind of made him Teflon.
especially in contrast to Katie, because Katie she gets that fucking stern, hard face on her. She's very, very focused, very intense about her emotions. People are going to read that as bitch right away. Not saying
Yeah,
it's
Sure.
fair, That's the
Just
way
because of that
that's the way that we
dynamic.
do. That's that's the way we've learned to read that, right? And I do think Katie's done a lot of like out of uh, things that are out of proportion anyways, but like it's also just like an unfair aesthetic read on her to like
Mhm.
to read that as pure bitch. So to compare that to Schwartz's aesthetic presentation of pure guilelessness, there's such a strong contrast that there's like an automatic response to gravitate towards the person who seems harmless, vulnerable, approachable, and have your sympathies coalesce around that
Mhm.
node of the couple instead. So I think there's also that like deepening of the contrast between the two that he's trying to work as part of his
Sure.
strategy.
Yeah, it's a
This
similar vibe to what Raquel puts out, but I think Raquel comes across a bit actually more genuine in
Yeah.
that
wasn't in a way
that
Schwartz
persona.
just calling her an armpit hair trimmer though. Like, wasn't he trying to take her down a peg a little bit too? Like maybe like he was trying to embarrass her in the situation.
To me, it kind of felt
Maybe.
like just grasping at like whatever he could
Okay.
as an in.
I don't know enough of
Um,
his character to
Yeah.
know
To
I
me, it
why
felt
I
more
he
don't
like
think
him
says
he's
trying
things.
to embarrass himself on
yeah
purpose.
Right. Because that's his go-to. I'm the
That's
yeah
cute
my read on it.
puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, I ate I ate the thing I wasn't supposed to eat again. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. That's so Schwartz.
I did like him at first, but I think yeah, and then disliked Katie like for all the reasons you said, Dylan. And but I did realize after watching 2 episodes that that wasn't all that was happening there. Schwartz definitely is, people should be mad at him
yeah.
sometimes, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the things that I like Schwartz as an entity on reality TV. I don't, I don't like him as a person. It's not the type of character that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like Team Schwartz on
Mm,
this. Uh, but I do kind of like that he's got this, this persona that he puts out there, and he's got this underbelly where he's, clearly a self-centered asshole that is kind of behind the mask.
right.
Hmm.
I don't think
Oh,
he's fully aware that he's self-centered though.
no, but who is? Like, who thinks that about themselves?
Not many people. I mean, that
Right?
could pretty much go for anybody on the show to a certain degree, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, how else would they continue on with the show?
Let's talk a little bit about Sheena. I think that these were really good episodes for Sheena, not just in that it was her wedding. I think she was still like a really active player and stirring the pot on these episodes. I brought up the example of when she called Lala when they were all in Lala's room and being like, "Oh, like where did you go?" Because
Mhm.
she has legitimate reason to be a bit upset with how Lala is behaving
Sure.
on this trip.
Right.
But instead of doing that and making it about her and putting the confrontation between Lala and her, or deepening the divide between her and Katie. She just uses an opportunity to like put the information out there that Schwartz and Raquel made out.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pro
Yeah.
move.
I didn't know exactly what to think of her. Like I get because like she's at certain times like Lala like she's saying like you should come on the. I'm getting the episodes confused again, but like come on the
That's fine.
catamaran, and she's like, hey, I know it's your wedding, but I got stuff to do too. And it's like, yeah, no, but you're here for one reason and one reason only, and that's her. So just do it.
Yeah, she does right to be
Yeah,
upset about that for sure. Like,
Yeah,
it's
and
it's
Lala's like ditching on everything in the wedding, like, and yeah, it seems to think
I
that it's no big deal.
yeah, and I don't really get her excuses. Like she's just kind of like, well, I'm
I
selfish.
think what is happening is there's this like this almost this new witches of WeHo coalescing around Katie. So
yeah.
in the older seasons of Vanderpump Rules, the witches of WeHo are Katie, Stassi, and Kristen.
We're getting some
And
lore now, Jared.
yeah, and they're gone now, but now I feel like Katie's trying to build
Katie's
up
recalling the coven into session.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to look into the whole witches thing.
They were selling wine, like a Witches of Whale wine,
Really?
for a while. Yeah, I don't know if it's still out there or not, but maybe you can
I'm
find
so
a nice
ignorant to
aged bottle.
this world. I had no idea.
What did you guys think about the wedding itself?
I would have thought it would have been a boss move if Sheena had another like crop top dress, but I'll take what we can get. I thought she backed down. She should have stuck with her guns. But I mean, whatever, it was fine.
Jared, did you have any other highlights from these episodes?
Vanderpump. No, I think we touched on most of the things that occurred. I thought was good. I don't know.
Dylan, how about you? What were your highlights?
Oh man, basically all of it. Like anything not involving restaurant talk. Going back to episode 9, the whole the Bubba dinner, as you called it, I thought was a beautiful scene, incredible cinema. That was a Bergman scene. That was a Bombeck scene. That was better than Kramer versus Kramer. Just an amazing divorce dinner scene that's kind of like on a downward spiral, but like still enough making an effort for like the kind of the aching human angle to come through. I thought it was so good, like just building up to the choices to have like a closer shots as they go through too, as the emotions get higher. So good until it's just broken by a waiter coming in to say, "Excuse me, Senorita Bubba." Beautiful.
Yeah, that was a beautiful moment.
An incredible scene. Real cinema.
He just took the food away.
Yeah.
Is it the same scene?
Yeah.
He just he's like, she's coming. She went to the washroom. He just like,
Didn't believe her.
Also, but there's nobody else in that restaurant, right?
Yeah, no, there was no one there.
No,
so he's just all alone, all by himself.
Yeah,
it's interesting because usually on these shows, they don't clear out the background of the restaurant. You can see people. You can see people in the background, even like looking at the cameras directly.
Right.
But here it was very alone and very isolating, and that had to have been a deliberate choice.
Felt like it a little bit, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah, at that weird like French restaurant in the Mexican resort where they somehow make the Mexican waiters say bonjour and say French words. So
have you ever been to a Mexican resort?
Yeah,
and that's what it's like, right? Like that's
exactly what it's like.
Like when I went, I thought we were gonna eat Mexican food. It's like
I had that thought too, because I've never been to a Mexican resort, and I had that thought. I'm like, okay, you're in Mexico and you're eating like at a French restaurant and a hibachi restaurant. I said first I'm like, that's really weird, but then I thought about it and I was like, okay, these people live in LA, like they can probably get better Mexican food on any street corner than they can get at the Dreams Natura Cancun resort. So enjoy that hibachi.
It is funny though when they start to say the language, like if it's one thing to have a French restaurant, it's another thing to start speaking French.
To make your poor waiters like say bonjour in French to the American guests is pretty weird, but whatever.
Bonjour, Senorita Bubba.
So good. Between that and like the Paris by Lisa Vanderpump or whatever the fuck her restaurant in LA was called a few episodes, or in Las Vegas. It was called a few episodes back, has really made me realize like how much this association of French culture with like a kind of refined cosmopolitan vibe is like a very persistent thing. That's still a thing. Like people still like cling to the idea of French culture being like the culture of sophistication, which is why you have these tacky fucking places in Las Vegas and Cancun that are like, welcome to Paris. It's so silly. I don't know how the French got away with that or continue to get away with that in some circles somehow.
Totally.
Yeah. The sticking on episode 9 a little bit before we move on. I felt like weirdly proud of Raquel when she busted out her Waldorf and Stadler routine, because
Oh
assuming that it
yeah.
wasn't
Oh,
like planted by a producer, which it might have been, it's like seems surprisingly sharp-witted for her to
yeah.
like make the
Yes.
association between Christina and Katie standing on the balcony judging, and the two Muppets doing it. That was
And then to like
then to
use
bust out two pom poms
yeah.
and do dialogue. She did that with unexpected gusto and confidence.
Yes.
Hats off to her. My one quibble would be that like when she did their voices, it really wasn't the way that they talk. Like she was just like, oh, we hate love, we hate
Yeah.
happiness. That's not the way Waldorf and Sadler talk. But marks for
Right.
the rest of it, just not the
Sure.
execution. Yeah, if an actual Waldorf and Sadler routine would be something like, oh, 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 Sheena sure looks good out there, doesn't she? I give her a 10. A 10? I'd say 15, because apparently she's having another quinceanera.
You should have been the one doing it.
I should give Raquel notes. I mean, the joke's not very good, but it's more in character,
Yes.
The guy officiating the wedding's sure doing a good job. Yeah. And if he marries Sheena 2 more times, she gets the next one free.
Also, her old man voice was lacking.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stop picking nits. She did a routine. Applause for doing a routine that was actually like pretty on point.
No.
Yeah.
The fact that I got it means it was okay.
Yeah.
I like that she's in there. She's trying new things in the confessional that other people aren't doing. Like she was dabbing a few episodes ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's getting a bit experimental with it, and I appreciate that.
She's starting to feel her oats a little bit more.
Yeah.
I thought the initial, like when they kissed, I thought that was a bit awkward. Way they kissed, because they leaned over a table and they're having to like bend a lot, and it's just not conducive to kissing. So like there's at one point I think he slips her the tongue and it just looks really bad.
The whole like consummation of the makeout plot line was like really awkwardly executed.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great for what it will like unlock as narrative possibilities, but like it was a very forced moment to like actually have that to make them do that kind of, which is what it felt like.
It felt like a high school moment, like where someone's like, hey, if you go ask whoever to make out, she's going to make out with you. And then you go like, hey, are we going to like, it was just so contrived.
Yeah. But then the follow through to that, the immediate follow through to that, like moving on to the new episode, the early parts of this episode I loved so much, because I've been talking a lot when we've been talking about Vanderpumps about kind of the increased spotlight on Raquel and kind of the evolution of her as not a big personality, because that still hasn't really developed much, but it just as a center of activity and the questioning about like who she really is and stuff. And I thought we got this wonderful climax at the start of the recent episode where they bring back that image I loved of the galaxy light, because she was projecting the galaxy light in the Lake Havasu, and they're making fun of her for it, and it became this kind of emblem of her kind of youthful, hopeful, cringe, dopey, doughish attitude to life that everybody was making fun of her for being like just like really lame and silly and young. And then she got reinforcement from that by Charlie. Schwartz says at one point that he has a light, and then
we see him sleeping under it.
Exactly. And then we get this amazing culmination of that image when after she kisses Schwartz, when she gets to be the center of attention, and where she's no longer just somebody being barely tolerated at the margins of this friend group, but she goes in, she's surrounded by all these people, and they project her galaxy starlight. We have her lights just spinning over everybody's faces, the galaxies from her projector just moving across the faces of the Toms and Arietta and everybody. They're literally in her light, and everybody's focus is on her, and everybody's talking about her. And just to use that as the image of that, I thought was so great. And it was just a great, like, Raquel has arrived moment. and
Right.
her personality is still kind of a black hole. But you know where you find a black hole? At the center of a galaxy.
Wow, that's
And
beautiful.
it was a beautiful moment. It was great. And then, like you said, Schwartz sleeping after it, bathed in the galaxy light.
Yes.
Just wow. There's just really great moments and imagery in these episodes. Another one that I really liked was near the end when Schwartz shows up to confront Katie, or be confronted by Katie at like I guess they're at the hibachi restaurant at that point or whatever. When he appears, there's like hissing steam and fire right when he shows up, like he's playing the devil in like an Italian opera. That was so great. Probably totally unplanned, but it worked out really, really well.
Who knows? They might have worked that one out. Can you do that one more time? He's gonna do that.
Yeah,
but
so
yes, I see. It's amazing. Like, I didn't notice all those things because I was trying so hard just to keep up with who these characters were, keep the names straight. But yeah, now maybe I'll watch more.
Yeah, you should. Because
I urge you to. Yeah,
it just gets deeper and deeper with all these like images and like cast off lines get like re-referenced the more you go on.
I liked how he was hiding behind the pole there. Like,
yeah,
I think he's probably going to come talk to us because it's like you could, he's not hiding.
I do want to address Lala a little bit too, because we haven't talked about her too much, and I think the last time we talked about Vanderpump a couple episodes ago, because we had to cover it very quickly. We were talking about Girls Trip a lot, and I've always kind of liked Lala a lot, and I said I was going to do my defense of her, and I thought, episode 9, I was like, all right, we got some good material here. We can see her best qualities to me, which are that she's a fierce like ally of her friends and is really good at supporting her friends and building them up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the way that she like talked to Allie to kind of warn her about some of James's qualities was actually like merited and on point and and stuff. Moving into the last episode though, this was this was a little off the rails here. Like when she goes in to talk to Sheena, and Lala loves to start justifying her actions by saying, as a woman, and then proceeding to something which basically, the summary is basically, you can't judge me for what I did because of feminism. But often, as I've said before, she makes very good points. Often she makes great points about like, how women get blamed for things that aren't necessarily their fault, how they get victimized, dragged, and we can see a lot of that in the reactions that have been going on to Raquel and the way that women just stick together and stuff. Often she makes good points. Often her as a woman sentences end up just being kind of nonsensical and nakedly self-serving. And this time she busts out the as a woman thing. She immediately goes into dragging Raquel again, who famously is a woman, and then transitions from that to comparing her to all these other fucking women that she hates, who are responsible for breaking up her relationship, apparently, with Randall, the motherfucking Harvey Weinstein level scum who has been like, lying to women and manipulating women and coercing women into sex with him, and producing the John Travolta Gotti movie, and just doing all kinds of terrible things. And that for her to frame it as like, these women are responsible for ending my relationship, it's like almost the same breath as her like as a woman intro. It's like, whew, bad look, Lala. This was a bad episode for her, really. And also not as bad, but also she like straight up gaslights Raquel at the end, which I hesitate to use that word because it's been like so but I mean it's become such like a mainstay of reality TV shows to use gaslighting when you mean to say lying, that it's almost been like bleached of meaning. But this is like textbook her literally saying like, well, I think you're remembering it wrong if you remember it that way, because that's not how it happened. Like literally textbook example of it. So anyways,
does anybody ever on this show go, you know what, you're right, it was me? Does that ever happen with any character?
Well, yeah, like people have admitted to things before,
but without like
explosive.
The super defensiveness.
I don't think without the super defensiveness, you'll have them starting out with
Right.
I was wrong. I want to apologize. I made a mistake. And then when they get the pushback, yeah, you were wrong. And be like, well, actually, it was because. But anyways, I just wanted to say that no, I'm not going to be doing my defense of Lala this episode because it was a terrible episode for her, this last one. And I thought she looked really bad and did a really bad
Yeah,
job.
she didn't look good at all.
And it was just I got to admit that was a bad showing from Lala.
Yeah, I think like Lala has one of the characteristics that I like appreciate in a reality character, and like I think makes a good antagonist. It's just a complete inability to show accountability. I think there's people that are way better at least um, creating the illusion that they're taking accountability for something. But Lala reminds me of Lisa Rinna a lot in how it's never her fault and she's going to like deflect um and that it's something that I do appreciate in a housewife, but it makes me like it's really hard to like them.
Yeah,
I think it's effective for the show, and you need people like that.
of course.
I think
If they were all just good people, then why are you watching, right?
Yeah, and in terms of and this show especially, it's like lots of shitty people. But I think in terms of just like why she's a good like personality on TV, I really like Lala because I find she's just consistently very funny. It's just as simple as that. She's very quick at spitting out sentences that are really funny. I think my all-time favorite Lala line. I don't even remember which episode this was, but there's one episode where she says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, you're fucking dead to me." That's great. That's such good dialogue. Like she's just so funny at that. And that's the number one quality I'm looking for. Somebody who will just spit out really funny statements.
Right. Yeah.
Before we move on to Real Housewives of New Jersey, Dylan, did you have any other final thoughts on Vanderpump Rules?
Oh, I mean, I could go on, but I think those are kind of the main things that that I wanted to get off my chest. A couple great episodes, lots of stuff going on there. Can't wait to see what comes next.
A restaurant not opening.
Oh yeah, we'll have a lot of that. Jesus Christ.
Although the one guy said that he didn't tell us, he didn't tell us about the drinks. And the other persons are saying we did tell him about the drinks. So which one is it?
They for sure didn't tell.
Yeah, okay.
There's no way.
They're in Mexico.
I like Lisa like pleading with Greg, being like, "Well, I'll kick their ass into shape if you just promise me that you'll open on the 31st." And he's like, "Nope." Can't promise that.
Yeah.
Why would I promise you a thing that can't happen?
So Real Housewives of New Jersey. Jared, what were your initial thoughts on the cast of Real Housewives, and was Real Housewives the show that you were expecting it to be?
Yes, to your second question. My first thought was literally like I was having a hard time keeping them all apart because some of them look very similar to each other. But I got kind of into it. But the first thing I thought was funny was the thing about bougie kids, because this is kids' clothes, and the one thing that's not in the scene is any children. This is just for them, I think.
Oh yeah.
And just the using that word bougie like it's positive, I guess, is not something
Danielle
I've ever heard before.
Uses it as part of her slogan too, right? It's like she's embracing the bouginess.
Yes, she's taking the word back.
Yeah, reclaiming it.
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't get. Why is she the bougie one? Is it because she's from Long Island, not Jersey, or why is that her brand?
I think it's more because of the way she dresses up. I think using bougie in the sense of like having like a cheap sense of aspirational style.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Or at least that's the
like
interpretation.
The sequins and
exactly.
Sort of
yeah. That's
The
fast
thing that
fashion.
The thing that like maybe this had already been in the show before, but when that I can't remember which girl it was. I don't know if she's a regular on the show, but when she said she slept with James Gandolfini.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good for Jen Fessler. Good for her.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder how long she's been waiting to bust that out. I mean, he's been dead for a long time. I mean, like, maybe she was waiting for a decent interval to elapse before she
Where it's
just like
okay.
finally pulls out of her back pocket. Yeah, I pulled the Gandal weenie. I got that in there. I feel like
that Gandal weenie.
that's the kind of thing I feel like if you bust that out in LA, people will be like, okay. But you do that in New Jersey. I don't know. I've never been to New Jersey, but I assume like his portrait is like in the legislative building.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
He's
It's
Tony
like-
Soprano. You know,
Yeah, it's like having sex with Elvis in Memphis. You know, it's
right?
like,
Or at least the number one Elvis impersonator. Like I assume he's like a prince there, probably. So that's
Yes.
that's good for her. she
it's
gets
just like
to
it goes
wear
Bruce Springsteen, Bon Jovi, Tony Soprano.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, good for her. I guess. She also said she had sex with him several times.
Yeah, she seemed to be kind of maybe elaborating, maybe embellishing a bit as she went on.
I think she said he
Yeah.
was definitely inside of me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she starts out with that, and then she's like, "Yeah, the one who got away." Yeah, you know,
I'm sure that's how he thought about her.
Yeah, and then when he died, it was like, oh, it felt like the person I married died. It was like, and I'm like, okay, pump the brakes, Jen. You might be getting a little carried away.
He took her.
It would have been
to
great
an
if just
S&M
somehow
bar.
like if she was like actually one of the girls on The Sopranos and like that wasn't his wife.
His,
Actually, I think I saw
his
her in The
Guma.
Sopranos.
Yeah.
I just assumed that Tony Soprano and James Gandolfini are the same person.
What were your first impressions of any of the other housewives that stood out to you?
Well, Melissa, is it Melissa, the one of the dark-haired one? There's a few dark-haired ones. Melissa
Yeah.
seems like a real shit disturber. Like just
Yeah.
always trying to cause problems all of the time. That's what I got.
She's definitely like involved in a lot of problems. She's like more of a problem magnet than doing any actual stirring. She likes to be the victim, but yeah, she's definitely involved in a lot.
And which woman like is basically taking them all to Ireland?
So this is Dolores's trip. She's the
Right.
host of this trip. Yeah.
So Dolores will sometimes be like I think it was at dinner. She's like, I just need everybody to like, we're in Ireland. This is a different country. I'm gonna need everybody to calm down. And it's like, well, that's not gonna work. That's just gonna make it go the opposite way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Polly warned her. Like she wants to make sure she doesn't like tarnish Polly's name, because he's like, oh yeah, you start singing, they'll sing along. You start fighting, they'll start fighting along too.
And I love how I love Polly's code switching, because normally he doesn't really talk with an Irish accent. Then once he's got an Irish family around him, the Irish accent really comes out, and I just love that kind of domestic code switching. And I'm disappointed he wasn't going. I kind of thought he'd be going with them.
He's definitely trying to like hang back, but I was surprised that his family is like legit Irish. I thought he was like St. Patrick's Day Irish, not like Irish.
Yeah, you thought he was Irish the way that they're Italian, like going back 7 generations, you know. But but his family talks like they're Irish from Ireland. They live there, like and yeah, like I didn't know that until he starts like switching naturally into the accent. So I wish we could see him there in that habitat. I'm a little disappointed he wasn't there with them.
What were your highlights from this episode?
Oh, my highlights. Well, at one point during that big blow up at dinner, I think it was with Melissa, she said something like, you're spreading half truth, someone told her, I think. And she said, it's not spreading, it's repeating what somebody else said. And I was like, yeah, that's spreading. That's what spreading is. That moment just like said everything to me.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of rephrasing going on in the arguments. Just rephrasing the same thing you're accused of as if you're making a point.
Yeah. Also, another great line was when I can't remember what their name was. It was near the start of the episode, and one of the women is talking to her husband, and I think they've had some marital issues. maybe he cheated on her or something like that. And but she said to him something
Yeah.
like, when you said I do, that's when you stopped having your own opinion. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She said that's when your true life ended or something. I think I got it written
All
down.
right.
Yeah,
Your true
that's
self
Jennifer.
got left at the door the minute you said I do.
There we go. Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, I know what she was going for there, but the way she phrased it was like, okay, you don't phrase it that
Yeah.
way, Jen.
Yeah.
That's
Jen
And the
is
guy just
not a
took it. He
very
just
like
took it. He was like,
delicate
yeah,
person.
okay.
Yeah.
yeah, because that's Bill, Jen's husband. He doesn't push back. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He just takes it and goes, all right, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the things that I mean I haven't watched a show like this for so long. I mean, so it's just I mean, obviously the obvious things popped out to me, just like how made up they are, how much different than they look than everybody else, around them. Everyone when they walk by in Ireland, everyone's looking at them like, "Whoa, what is this?" Um, I don't know how they. It's hard. Like I just when they're in Ireland, it's just like, wow. It's like I don't think you guys should leave New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, I think they would like stand out in most places that aren't New Jersey. Like
Yes, because they're so
they
flashy, lip
So
fillers and all that
bougie.
kind of stuff. Yeah, so bougie.
but like I think like in LA these girls are gonna seem out of place. Like I
Yeah.
mean they'd obviously seem out of place like here in Winnipeg where Jared
Oh,
and I are. So like it's not so surprising that they're like super out of place in Ireland. But it is always interesting watching Jersey when they do a cast trip because all these shows they always like take a cast trip and New Jersey, the Jersey girls, they always stand out in
right.
their environments way more than any other cast.
Yeah, I guess so. Where are you, Dylan? Not.
I'm in Quebec. I'm in the town of
Oh,
Tadoussac. In my
I had
work
no
office.
idea.
That's what's behind
Yeah.
me here. Yeah.
Oh.
Basically Jersey, so that's why I didn't mention
This is the Jersey of the
Quebec.
province of Quebec. Yeah. Uh,
it. Dylan, what were your highlights from Real Housewives of New Jersey?
yeah, I definitely enjoyed the bitches of Inishirin. It was not too bad. We had I some things that I didn't quite get in the argument, like Margaret really like drill down on the idea that there was that Jennifer's ruse with the coffee fortune reader was witness tampering. And I'm not really
Yeah.
sure like witness to what, like who's prosecuting this case. God, like I don't know, like I don't really understand the metaphor, like why there's a trial here, who's on trial, what's going on, why is it witness tampering. But she sticks to her guns enough that other
I
people
think this
adopt it.
like kind of spoke to the strategic mind that Margaret has towards the season. Like
Okay.
she sees this as like someone introducing like a piece of evidence or a piece of like you know it's putting a ball in play that she's calling foul on. She wants a penalty called on
Yeah,
this fortune teller because she
there's a
does
flag on the
not think that.
play.
Yeah, she does
Yeah,
not
for
think it
sure.
should stand.
Yeah, um, definitely a really great shot chaser to go from that to having Jen Aiden like really show her hand there and to reveal this secret that she has, and how it's much better than what you would have hoped for. The way that it has tendrils that go through Margaret as well,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really planting something that's going to be really interesting to see develop, because Margaret apparently has the same weapon in her arsenal that Jennifer now has in her arsenal. So I've compared their situation to a Cold War before, and they both have the bomb now. So this is really really cool. Uh,
Yeah,
I was
and
really
it's
good.
interesting like to read Margaret's behavior as frustration more than like actual like slighted. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's mad because she's frustrated that Jennifer has the same knowledge, she's got the same like piece of leverage, but also she's got the added like she's got the added piece where Margaret told someone this. So she can
Yeah.
put that out there. She can like use this bomb as a proxy. It's not just like Margaret can only use it and like put this out there.
Mhm.
But Jen can put this out there and also, put the smoking gun in Margaret's hand. So
Right.
Yeah.
it kind of gives a bit more context to why Margaret is so mad.
For sure. And it's definitely really juicy how this whole dispute has really been revolving around secrets and like who can keep secrets and how information is disseminated and like the wrong ways to disseminate information, to realize that they now both are sitting on the same big piece of information coming to them through different ways is very, very meaty. There's a lot of juicy meat on that bone. So this is really promising for the rest of the season.
I think this
Jennifer wants to
could have.
tell Danielle
I
so
think
badly in that scene. Pretend, I think it's Danielle, pretending that she
Yeah.
can't tell her, but saying everything without saying it.
Yeah, I think that could have been a mistake. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it will end up being, but that
It's
could very
definitely
easily have been a mistake because now, now she's in the same position as Margaret. She has told someone else this information.
Releasing it into the waterways in any form is going to be very, very risky because all your power comes from your ability to control that information. And if she loses
Right.
control and the leak comes from her, she might be losing her advantage and playing into Margaret's.
She
Right.
probably felt comfortable because like her and Danielle have been close. That alone is probably not enough to like do this, but the fact that Danielle has like called out Rachel as being a rat and like being like pissed off
Mhm.
about having information get propagated through her, I think probably gave her the comfort. And I mean, this also is like a strategic move in a sense. Like Jennifer needs numbers on her side, and so that's why we saw her last episode or the episode before that, whichever episode it was, where she kind of made amends with Dolores to try to gain some numbers, and now she's trying to sort of solidify Danielle and be like, well, now you're basically in this with me because like we've talked about this now, so we're in the same boat. If you go down, I go down type thing. So I think she was skillful in not presenting it in a way where it seemed like something that she could hold over her head. But anyone in that conversation is going to get collateral if this
Right.
backfires on Jen. So we saw in the confessional where Danielle's like, okay, well, I wish I didn't know this. I wish I wouldn't have asked.
No, she pried a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't act like she didn't want to know.
She treated it like 20 questions.
Yes, I wrote down 20 questions. It's exactly what it was.
Yeah. I also love Danielle's reaction to hearing the news. Just the way that she enunciates, "That's a bomb, Jen." Like sometimes Danielle sounds like Marge Simpson from Jersey, and it's really, really entertaining.
Isn't there a moment, and maybe I'm confusing people, where she kind of something happens where she kind of forgives her a little bit later on in the episode? Am I wrong? Or I confuse some of the women for each other? So that Danielle is kind of like, I wish I wouldn't have known that, but then later on she seems okay with somebody after some little thing I can't remember.
Oh, okay. So there was like a moment where she kind of tests Joe Gorga via.
Is that the boob thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, let's send a picture of my boobs to Joe and see if he notices. And then he was like, "Oh, who's that?" And she's like, "Okay, everything is good at home." Like,
yeah. I don't understand what she thought she was proving by that.
Yes.
I don't understand. What did she think she was proving? I didn't get
like
that.
A guy can't know multiple boobs.
No, but also like, and also like, if you're going to test him, that's a pretty easy test. Like, I mean. Look, Melissa and Danielle don't have the same chest dimensions. It's going to sound way too horny if I start speculating about their cup sizes. But if there were grades, Melissa is passing and Danielle is failing. Like that's a layup. That's an easy one for him to be able to get with that particular picture of her fafoonies. to use one of the terms that Danielle uses earlier in the episode. And by the way, she has just such she has an amazing vocabulary for parts of the female anatomy. I think I'm keeping a notes somewhere of the list of things she says. I want Danielle to play like a doctor in a show or something and just be like, well, so the cancer's in your fafuni, so we got to make sure it doesn't spread to your chichinas, because then it gets in the tangerinis, and then we don't want that to happen. just names parts of her body the way Australians name fauna. Just like
it was pretty great that just cleared it up for her, though. She's just
cleared
like,
up something. I don't know what.
No problem here. That man knows his boob, so that's like it was a very odd moment to me, but
yeah, still trying to figure it out. Yeah. But good stuff.
And then there's busting out limericks.
Yeah.
There's freestyling.
Yeah, Fessler's was pretty good, actually. I mean, you'd expect that. She's kind of the comedian of the group, and she has a pretty good one dedicated to Gandolfini's memory.
Yes, who's the one who's like, that lady's not funny? Someone had said that lady's not funny, basically, after it.
Oh, I think Jennifer Aiden said that.
Yeah.
Like, she's not the funny one in the group.
She's not the funny one.
Was she saying that about Fessler, or was she saying that about Jackie or something? I don't
Whoever
know.
said the original
I think it was
limerick.
I think it was about Jackie.
Yeah, it was about Jackie. She said that, yeah.
Because
Fessler is the funny one in the
group. Well, she should know that. Or sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. I get them all mixed up.
Dylan, any highlights from New Jersey?
I think we covered it all. I think we covered everything I liked about it, honestly. Oh, also, there one more thing. There's been a huge obsession this season about using the term "throwing under the bus," and that's just an observation. They won't stop talking about throwing people under the bus. It's just like the term that they love to use. Like it's
entered the vocabulary.
Yeah, like it's the 2008 election all over again. I don't know. But
maybe it's a foreshadowing. That someone's going to get killed by a bus.
One of those like double-decker tourist bus going around Dublin.
Yeah. Somebody also said something. Oh, somebody said, "I forgive, I never forget." That was a great line too.
I think Danielle says that.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. Well, I don't think you forgive though. Then, like,
that's an expression that I've never quite understood for that same reason. Because
yes,
it seems the implication is always, I forgive, but I don't actually forgive.
I forgive because I forget.
Yeah, exactly. I never forgive, but I forget.
Yeah, so you're good. I'll forgive you once I forget.
One person that we haven't really talked about, and he wasn't very present in this, is Louis. We did get one scene where he seems like very frustrated with his beef with Joe Gorga. And Teresa says that she sees a shift in Louis. Dylan, do you see a shift in Louis?
Yeah, definitely a shift in his approach. He's still babbling therapy speak, but now he's babbling it in terms of cutting a toxic person out of your life, and that he's no longer trying to conciliate Joe. Yeah. He has recognized that he is just bringing unhappiness and toxicity into the situation, and is now going to take a path of separating from that, which is the only sensible thing to do, because as I've said in the previous episode, you're not going to have a breakthrough with Joe and Melissa. It's not going to happen, so might as well change tack.
Yeah, don't give any power to that darkness.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that about covers everything that I want to talk about with Real Housewives of New Jersey. Jared, did you have any final thoughts about what this experience of watching these shows was like, and any sort of opinions that it changed or reinforced?
It took me a while to get used to the pace of the show, because it's not what I normally watch. It's bouncing around a lot. This person says something, this person says something, this person, he said, she said, or she said. I don't think I would watch Real Housewives again. But you know what? I kind of got into Vanderpump. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm not super surprised to hear that given the episodes that we watched. I think like Vanderpump Rules had definitely the more engaging episodes, and I thought that this episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey was not giving a whole lot. And I think Real Housewives of New Jersey doesn't really do a lot to sort of challenge your idea of what a Real Housewives show is, just given
Right.
the personalities that are on it. I think it takes a, I think that like it is a great Real Housewives show, and I think that there is like a ton of depth to it, but I think that it takes a while to see that when you're watching New Jersey and not just get your views of Real Housewives reinforced by watching it. Um, so yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that take.
Yeah. Also, I just don't like small dogs, so I have a hard time watching the shows.
Oh, that's going to be a barrier to entry.
It's like it seems like the more shallow the person, the smaller the dog.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I am so glad that you were able to come on and do the show. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, Winnipeg, not Quebec, where Dylan is. uh, at JRockarolla on Instagram. That's JROCKAROLLA. And yeah, I pump my shows and stuff there. So yeah,
Awesome. Thank
Park Theater in Winnipeg every 4 months or so. Host the Winnipeg Comedy Showcase. So that's usually what
Nice.
I'm talking about on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for doing this. Dylan, did you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, as usual, I talk about horror movies on the podcast Mind Over Splatter, and you can find me on Substack writing about movies.
Cool.
Awesome. This has been the Bravo Outsider. You can find us on Instagram at Bravo Outsider. We're also on TikTok, also at Bravo Outsider, and we've got a website, bravooutsider.com. You can find this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Until next week, keep it real.